A coup is actually where people extend their limit beyond what constitutionally is being provided for. That one is also a coup. When you rig yourself into an election, it's also a coup. So basically, the problem with these leaders is I am right, everybody else is wrong.
Ecowas have real concern about the constitutionality of the governments chosen by sovereign people in their country.
The former Federal Commissioner of Information and Culture, General Ibrahim Bata, said that the Western world wants to ensure that they orchestrate a likelihood of causing a third world war. This is what he said during a Rice TV interview with Erufai. According to him, he said that the Western world wants to ensure that they succeed. That's why they plant their feet in Niger. He's saying this because he knows that the Western world mean no well for Africa, and the only way they could fight against the Russia, which with their whole NATO stuff, is to cause a lot of havoc in Africa. Now, how are they doing this? I really want to emphasize, I want you guys to listen to what General Ibrahim Bata said during a Rice TV interview. We'll be right back.
We hear about what's going on through the media, and from what I hear, I try to put it in some kind of context. And in my own perception of the context in which these things are happening, starts from the end of the Second World War, where the conspiracies against African colonized countries had started. Because while the world was siding end of the war and setting up the United Nations organization, the Western powers had laid down a charter from which they have conspired, by the look of it, to ensure that the negative gains of African past colonial countries in their independence. The conspiracy seems to work in every cycle of 50 years, and in each cycle, the post-colonial independent countries make progress, but at the end of that cycle, things developed in sort of a conspiracy to reverse their gains in each of these cycles. In one cycle, the independent countries, through patriotism and nationalism and their independence. The next cycle, they are being destroyed through coups and new sets of constitutions have been set up. And I think in the present context, the world order is being threatened with a change, reversing from the bipolar world we had, and the development through that to the present position where the United States of American dollar is being threatened, and the BRIC nations are setting up a challenge. Then the natural resource country like Africa that provides the resources for the development that are going on in technical in the technical world, including the communication and other technology revolutions, have put them in a position where they feel threatened, and the world order that is pending will not probably be so much in favor to them, and they like to to ensure that they orchestrate this likelihood of the third World War, or whatever World War we now move in Africa, where the resource base of future technologies are cited. And I think that to ensure that they succeed, they have planted their feet in Niger, where some of the critical resources are found, which they have been exploiting. And I think to ensure that they dramatize the new orchestration of entrenching themselves as dominant powers. They are all in Niger. They probably know about or planned the coup, which they wish to see succeed in their own view to meet their ends. Because constitutionalism, which the Ecowas are trying to go and implant, is not a constitution that was created by foreigners. It's created by the independent sovereign state of Niger. They are surrounded by other foreign, non-constitutional governments. I dare say that the real intent is to overthrow the constitutional governments and make it look as if the other African countries and Ecowas have real concern about the constitutionality of the governments chosen by sovereign people in their country.
All right, sir. All right, General Hano, thank you very much.
All right, guys, what do you think about what General Ibrahim said? Do you think that the Western world are behind all these things that is happening in Africa? Or do you really think that, okay, now that Niger is waking up, since the citizens are not complaining, okay, let's think of how to fix our home so that similar thing that happened in Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali will not also happen in our country? Why do you think that those ECOWAS leaders are so furious to invade Niger? I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What do you guys think? Anyway, it didn't end there. I want you guys to also watch this particular video. We'll be right back to do some exegesis.
But the basic issue is one has to be extremely careful with these sit-tight leaders. Because obviously the coup is not only the idea of military taking over government. A coup is actually where people extend their limit beyond what constitutionally is being provided for. That one is also a coup. When you rig yourself into an election, it's also a coup. So basically the problem with these leaders is I am right, everybody else is wrong. Because one has to look seriously into the kind of thing that this guy is here. And my fears are that we shouldn't allow these people to take us into another proxy war. Proxy war in the sense is that in Niger, the Wagner, the missionary groups of Russia are already there. And these people who are from the east is because Niger, Mali, and others are saying they are tired with the domination of French in the running affairs of their own country, so they want to be really independent. They have been telling us that you are more independent than us because our own independence is only a name. Our currency is being printed somewhere, and then the central bank of another country is the one that takes care of our own money. You go back, you take loan from your own money, and you pay interest. There are so many things that are going on wrong. And I can't see people like Ouattara have the moral right to start telling people that this issue is not Nigeria and Niger. As far back as the 18th century when the Sultanate was established, there has been a very good cordial relationship between the two countries. And a number of Nigerian leaders happens to belong to the two countries. Nigeria recognized in dual citizenship. There are a number of Nigerian leaders that are partly here and partly there. So I can't see anybody who's telling us that if there's going to be a war, even if we are not around neighbors, who's Niger, one will say it is not a war between us. It is actually a war between us because there are a number of Nigerians that are going to be affected as a result of that war. So I can see a contradiction in the release itself because I believe the leadership who happens to be our own leader, seems to be focusing more on diplomacy based on the missionaries that he has sent around. The former president was there together with the Sultan of Sokoto. Nobody seemed to know what has actually happened. And you see, you cannot really negotiate with the threat. The first thing that's made it very difficult for people to start thinking about this negotiation was the fact that we took a decision, cut off light, close the borders and what have you. You have a negotiation, you cannot negotiate with somebody on the basis of a threat. You should first negotiate. It is only when the negotiation fails that you think about what happened again. So I believe basically there is a lot of contradiction in the release itself. Two, I'm sure we should not allow this country to go into a proxy war between the West and Russia, because at the end of the day, if you look at what is happening in Ukraine, if you look at what is happening in Sudan, and in quite a lot of places you see around Libya that has virtually finished, you can see basically is this idea of pushing people to do certain biddings. And they use some of these sit-tight leaders to sell their own ideas around. And if you look at the background of Ouattara and what you see, virtually you find out that even when he was talking, you cannot exactly, he was not trying to report to people that this is what has happened. It was the decision or the ideas of a Ivorian government that has been sold to the Economic Community of West Africa.
All right, guys, we have come to the end of today's program. What do you guys think about what General Ibrahim Betta said and what this other man said? I want to hear from you in the comment section. All right, until we meet again, stay tuned, Plan B TV. We love you. God loves you more. If it's your first time coming across our video, please ensure that you subscribe. If you do, turn on your notification bell so that you wouldn't miss out any of our future uploads. For all of our returning subscribers, God bless you. We love you. God loves you more. And until we meet again, peace out.
To subscribe, to get notified. And I see the show your support. Now say God bless you too.
Sense on the bed.
Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV. Oh, Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV, Plan B TV.